Leny Chavez. I am with Carollo Engineers, and I also have the privilege of serving as the functioning chair for Pacoima Beautiful. I am here with Bronwyn Kelly. She is also with Carollo Engineers, and she is our stormwater expert. So we would like to share with you an activity that showcases stormwater runoff and pollution. Bronwyn, could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, hi, I'm Bronwyn Kelly. I'm a professional geologist and I lead up the stormwater program for Carollo in Los Angeles. And we're gonna work on a fun little activity just to highlight the importance of keeping our watershed clean.
Okay, so that's a great way to start because I really want to ask you, what is a watershed?
A watershed is a point, it's a divide where all the rain that falls in that area flows to a point in a river or a stream. So that encompasses the watershed.
And why do we have to worry about pollution in the watershed?
Well, pollution is anything that makes our water unclean. And it's very, very important to keep our water clean to help with the vitality of the water, the plants that live in the water, the animals that live in the water, that, you know, we all swim in the water, we all like to play, especially here in Southern California. You know, it's important to keep that clean because it can make not only the fish sick, but also us sick. It can get us sick. A lot of pollution after a big heavy rainfall gets washed out into the ocean, and it's important that we try to keep our watershed as clean as possible to minimize that pollution going out to the ocean.
And what are we going to use?
Oh, okay. So we have just a couple of supplies that are needed, just a couple of sheets of plain white sheets of paper, little tape, washable markers, and you don't have to have a full 8. You really only need, I really am only using the red, the green, the brown, the black, just those basic 4 washable colors, 4, and a little water bottle. This water bottle will represent our rain for the watershed.
So, how about you do it and I pick your brain while you're at it?
Okay.
Excellent.
So basically you just hold up the one sheet of paper and you crumple it just into a ball, and then you spread it out.
Okay.
Spread it back out. So it looks sort of like this.
Uh-huh.
Okay? Looks like this. Take that and take your your tape and just tape down all 4 corners.
Mm-hmm. What are we making, Bronwyn?
We are going to make a topographic map.
A topographic
map.
What is that?
A topographic map sort of highlights the topography. It highlights the mountains, the rivers, the streams of our environment. So we're sort of recreating on a very small scale something similar. We're going to make our own little city and our own little environment using washable markers and piece of paper.
So,
yes.
Are those little mountains on top of that?
Yes. So what you would do is all of the peaks. So when you look up at the mountains in Southern California and anywhere, you know, mountains come to a peak. Valleys are in the sloped areas. So basically what we've done is created sort of a topo.
That's the short, huh? For topographic map.
Topo.
We call it topo.
Topography. So with your brown marker, we would just outline all of those peaks. Like just take your marker and go along the edge of all those peaks. You can go, you just follow the edge, and so where the brown marks on the edge, those are your mountain ranges. That's the top of your mountain right there.
Oh. Okay.
Just like that.
So you color
Okay.
all the tops.
All the tops till you get to the mountain range. And the reason why we're doing that in brown is, you know, trees don't typically grow, or plants don't typically grow on mountaintops. This is the edge. There's no vegetation. So
Interesting.
what we're going to do next is then create our little town. So what do we have in our, what do we have in our little town?
Houses.
Houses. Okay, so if your red marker, you're in one of those valleys or all over, you're gonna draw some houses. Little squares represent a house. You could do little dots, smaller house, big apartments down in the valleys. We don't have too many houses way up on the peaks, so we would just do it all around. You know, say you live in town A over here, and then your grandmother lives over here. So we're drawing little towns, buildings. It doesn't have to be very neat, or it can be as detailed as you want to make it. Okay, what else do we have in our town?
Well, how do we go from my house to my grandmother's house?
Very good point. So we would take our black marker and we would connect our town and our houses and our schools and our churches with the black marker. This represents the roads going all the way across to your town. All the way over to check it out. Let's go see Aunt Leny.
Yay.
So that's our town. What else do we have in our town?
How about some plants or some trees? Some
Yeah.
parks.
How about parks? City parks,
Yeah.
where you go play soccer, where you go play baseball, where you go hang out with your family, have picnics. Let's put some green stuff in there. Green parks all over here. And so that represents parks, where we go play. Then we have our whole little town and our whole environment
On our topographic map.
on our topographic map. And so, like I was saying earlier, a watershed is where you would have a divide that drains to one single point. So in this area, it kind of would go here. And then over here goes this way. And it's just how it drains. So with your water bottle, you can make it rain to demonstrate that. But when it rains, you are picking up all of those pollutants. We get sediment from the mountain ranges and the open areas. We get nitrogen from fertilizers in the lawns. We get oil and grease from the roads going all the way down into our watershed. And now this clean water has pollution in it.
And that's how it runs down to the bottom of the watershed.
Yeah.
To where the stream. Oh, very interesting. Can you do it
And so
again? I want to see it run off too. Do all of them again. Do they all mix in together? Do they all go in together?
Yeah, so if you add it more, if you make it rain and rain, if you add more into there, so if it was a very populated environment, it would be much, much dirtier. And, you know, that's what's all being washed out into our streams and into our oceans. That is what's not healthy for our environment.
So does that mean, Bronwyn, that when there's a heavy rain, the water that's washing off the street is not that clean? We shouldn't play in it?
That is correct. Well, water and runoff Runoff is what is a result of stormwater that hits the ground that is covered either with asphalt or concrete, something that's not pervious or does not allow the water to soak in, will hit the ground and run off into a storm drain or into the stream or ocean. Here in California, we have all those storm drains that have the signs that says drain to the ocean, no trash, and that's sort of the outreach component to help identify the storm drains so pollution doesn't get into those drains. The imperviousness, it just doesn't allow for it to soak in. It doesn't create runoff. And on the streets, it picks up a lot of oil and grease, and those things are very hard. And because we don't have a treatment system at every one of those storm drains, all of that pollution is being run off into the ocean.
Because those puddles look really fun.
Yeah.
But I shouldn't jump in them.
I would jump into it, but we're trying to reduce the volume of puddles and allow the water to soak in.
Excellent. Why do we want the water to soak in?
Well, for a number of reasons. For a water quality component, we want it to soak in because then it's not being carried out and impacting the water body. Or a stream or an ocean, but mostly for a water supply component. In Southern California, we have issues. In the history, we had issues with flooding, and so at the time, the measure was like, let's just get the water out to the ocean as fast as possible so it doesn't flood. And now we want to really hold that water so that we can be strategic as to where we can put it to really replenish our groundwater supply. The Southern California is limited in its water supply basically due to the environment in which we live. It's a very deserty-like environment, and we want to be able to utilize the water as much as possible to replenish supplies in the ground.
And one last question for you, Bronwyn. I hear you call groundwater. What other kinds of water are there?
Well, there's rainwater, there's snow captured, and then there's groundwater. And we in Southern California get a lot of water that is sent to us through the State Water Project. It's either from the Colorado River Aqueduct or from Northern California. You know, snow melt comes, is being pumped to Southern California to really help maintain a thriving, healthy environment for us to drink and live.
Thank you, Bronwyn. We learned a lot with you.
Thank you. I hope you have fun.